LGBTQ plus rights organizations, has a meltdown as director resigns, accusing the board of white supremacy. Jeremy LeMaster, the now former executive director of Free State Justice in Maryland, published an article on the organization's website announcing his resignation. He accused the group's board of directors of motivating white supremacist culture. LeMaster has accused the 7-member board of repeatedly refusing to conduct its core activities, failing to meet its financial responsibilities, and ignoring the group's dedication to low-income LGBTQ clients. LeMaster wrote, quote, "They have worked to consolidate power and amend the board handbook in secret to lower the minimum number of board members required to ensure that our policy positions prioritize relationships with legislators and not the best interests of our client community," end quote. LeMaster said he repeatedly told the board about his concerns and accused the board of trying to buy his silence with a severance pay package upon resigning. LeMaster also expressed his fear of speaking out against a, quote, "concentrated small group of white affluent professionals," end quote. Though he agreed that, as executive director, he should take the blame for their poor leadership, he also mentioned that his role in the organization was impossible to perform, considering the board's actions. Former Free State Justice Education and Outreach Director Ezra Halstead has called LeMaster's claims 100% false. Halstead says, quote, "The reality is that Jeremy has single-handedly destroyed the organization on their own," end quote. Again, it gets back to when we start to eat each other, when we eat our own young. And this is a Maryland group that's been around for a while. The thing is, there's not a lot being written about this. I tried to look for a little bit more beyond this and saying he destroyed the thing and they're being white supremacists. I haven't seen an article yet that really backs up a lot of this claim. So in the spirit of the last story, I would like to reserve a final judgment, but my God, I think the overriding story or the theme to this show so far has been, we need to stick together. We need to get our act together. If we start cannibalizing ourselves, they're going to come in and pick up the carcass.
Well, and this LeMaster is a transplant to Baltimore. He's been there a few years, and there's a very interesting 2018 Washington Blade interview with him at the time when he was already like a rabble-rouser. He had organized a queer takeover at a John Waters exhibit at a museum in Baltimore. So he has a history of this. He likes to stir things up. So it's not really surprising that he spoke up about something that he personally considered to be wrong. He's that kind of, and he's young, and he's that kind of person that when he sees something, he's either going to organize a takeover or he's going to speak up about it.
You know, I did the reference on the movie War Games. Now we move to DEFCON 2. It's interesting to me of the nature of this story. First off, it's very distressing to me. You make an excellent observation in terms of the amount of information that is out there. LGBTQ news is very fluid at best. It depends on the perspective, the dedication to professionalism, the ability to talk about the issue, the ability to investigate the issue and have the resources to do it. LGBT does not generally have a particularly good history across the board of that. And I suspect one of the reasons why you see very little written about Free State and what is going on in Maryland. The other observation that I would make about this story is that we're in a situation where I think it's becoming, when we get gay marriage and we have every network and every business and every commercial in the world in June talking about pride and being in our parades, everything is fine. When a Governor Ron DeSantis and a Governor Bud Abbott come in and stress us and stress us and stress us, that's when we find out how good of a community we are. That's what we're beginning to find out. The stress test that is going on LGBT, we're beginning to see the cracks. And that story that LGBT journalists and the press is going to continue to cover and talk about and see where it goes. One thing I think is really becoming initially crystal clear. We don't know where this is going, but we can see what is happening. And what we are seeing is that when everything is great in LGBT, we're happy. But at the end of the day, if it's not what we want, we're going to turn on you. And that means we're going to turn on the gay guy on the lesbian on the gay guy, the white gay guy on the black gay guy, on trans, and the fingers of the table that we sit around here begin to point in all kinds of directions. And I don't think we were as clear that we would do what we watch in the broad community.
Right.
But after all, we're finding out we're human.
And do you think that DeSantis and Abbott are using that as against us?
There's no question
seeing
about
it
it.
as
Fox News does what they do because they know it's successful. DeSantis's commercials in Florida about Chris supports Nancy Pelosi 100% of the time, and he wants to change our boys into girls. That's ridiculous.
Right.
But he knows exactly what he's doing because he's poking that culture war. And in many respects, because we're being stressed over it, we're going right along with it.
LGBTQ plus news is vital for our community and for the broader world as a whole. We have enough enemies at Fox News. Tucker, Sean, and Laura are loud. We need passionate allies. Happening Out Television Network, Queer News Tonight, and It's Happening Out are literally out of the closet and into the headlines. Our community needs your support. Like this broadcast and subscribe now to ensure the growth of the entire LGBTQ plus community.